Yesterday was Western Wednesday, today was Throwback Thursday, and tomorrow is costume day. So far, 8th grade has earned 314 student points. That's almost as much as the 6th and 7th grade has earned combined. Last Friday, we welcomed guest speaker, Mr. Ramirez, who told his story and told students to not do drugs, smoke, vape, or drink, and explain what these acts can do to young persons with. Mr. Ramirez talked about his school life and what he did when he was bullied, and encouraged students that if it's mentionable, it's manageable. We will never forget his last quote. Run, biscuit, run.
All right, thank you, Nathan. Next up, we have the Dallas High School.
Hello, my name is Mayette Winwood. I'm a senior at the Dallas High School, and I'm the current ASB Executive President. We are more than halfway through our trimester, and fall sports are coming to an end. We have some exciting news to share about our sports seasons and just our overall trimester. For sports, we are entering the last week of fall sports, and we have many state qualifying teams. Winter sports will start on November 13th. Our volleyball team is second in the district and are overall ranked 8th in the 4A division. On Saturday, they will be traveling to Pendleton for the first round of playoffs. Our boys soccer team is also second in the district and are ranked 8th in 4A. On Tuesday, the boys played for a ticket into the playoffs and won. The first round of playoffs will be November 1st in Pendleton. Our girls team are district co-champions as they lost their game to Gladstone but had a higher overall score, so they're kind of sharing the title. They are ranked 6th in the league. Their first round of playoffs are October 31st, and they're playing here, but the opposing team is yet to be determined. Our football team is ranked 2nd in the league and 18th in 4A Special District 2. Their game is this Friday at Estacada. Will determine if they make it to the playoffs, which would be pretty exciting. They haven't made it to the playoffs in a while. Our girls cross-country team is district champions. Our boys placed 2nd. Both teams will be going to state on November 4th at Lane Community College. The girls are ranked 4th for 4A in the state, and the boys are ranked 3rd. Today, the Japanese kids who are a part of our Sister City program came to the high school during 4th and 5th period. So it's fun to have them. The mobile health unit is coming on Friday. This is a way for students to get help with medical things, like mostly our students use it for sports physicals. And our yearbook and graphics club are hosting a haunted house this weekend. It will be at the high school from 7 to 10, Friday and Saturday night. It's not recommended for young kids as it will be pretty dark and scary. And then ASB is hosting a reverse Riverhawk walk for Halloween. Future Riverhawks can come and walk the halls of TDHS and get lots of candy. This will be on Halloween, Tuesday the 31st from 4 to 6. Please enter through the main entrance.
Right, thank you. Next, we have Innovations Academy, and I guess we have a video.
My sister is playing a role here right now because the connection is that the speaker is really loud and noisy. So I can play it to people live stream, but I'll play it to you guys.
Okay. All right, that'll work. Okay, so then next we have Chenoweth Elementary, Viola Ornelas, and Camila Barajas Valdenovinios. Sorry if I messed that up.
Buenas noches, yo soy Paola, una estudiante de quinto grado en la escuela primaria de Chenoweth, en la clase de señora Stutzman.
Good evening. I am Camila, a 5th grade student at Chenoweth Elementary School in Mrs. Stutzman's class.
En lugar de hacer disfraces en Halloween, Haremos un desafío de clase que cara de colores. El quinto grado vestir de morado presenta en CES vestido de morado y ayúdanos a ganar el próximo martes.
Instead of wearing costumes on Halloween, we are going to do a class color war challenge. 5th grade is wearing purple. Show up to CES in purple and help us win next Tuesday.
ASB está planeando una semana de espíritu para toda la escuela, diseño y comprar gorros con nuestra mascota Cougar y el club de crochet y ideología y una fiesta en el verdo. Somos un grupo muy ubicado.
ASB is planning a spirit week for the entire school, designing and buying beanies with our cougar mascot on them, a crochet and jewelry club, and a winter party. We are a very busy group.
Nuestros maestros han planeado a lugares divertidos para nosotros. El quinto grado fue el heredero de los pescados de Spring Creek. Vimos cómo se lavan los pequeños huevos de pescado, lo que fue interesante. El cuarto grado fue a la Museum Mary Hill y Tag se fue a la Bonneville Dam.
Our teachers have planned some fun field trips for us. 5th grade went to the Spring Creek fish hatchery. We saw the tiny fish eggs getting washed, which was interesting. 4th grade went to the Mary Hill Museum. Tag went to the Bonneville Dam.
Nuestro segundo chiste del día, porque el primero fue en los anuncios de la mañana, es ¿qué hace una abeja en el gimnasio?
¿Qué?
Zumba.
Our second joke of the day, because our first one was in our video morning announcements, is a cowboy goes into town on Monday and leaves 2 days later, but he leaves on Friday.
How?
His horse's name was Friday.
Esto es todo de Chenoweth. Los miramos en la mes segunda.
That's all for Chenoweth. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Next, we have Dry Hollow with Lydia Leducer and Jackson Timmer.
Good evening, District 21 school board members. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight and to give you an update on what's been happening at Dry Hollow since we last met a month ago.
Jackson, do I look a month older?
Why, yes, Lydia, you do. How about me?
Well, I think there's a mustache developing below your nose, but that's besides the point. So let's get to our report, okay?
All right, Lydia. Well, since we were here last, Dry Hollow students have been working hard on our PTA fundraiser. I believe the fundraiser has made over $4,000 for our PTA. That's a lot of cold, hard cash.
Also, the kindergarten classes had conferences for parents. They were well attended by the parents of the kindergarten students.
On Friday, October 20th, over half the students and staff dressed in pink to honor loved ones they know who may be battling cancer now or may have had cancer. In our Crush Cancer Day, or as I call it, the Pink Out Day, at Dry Hollow, you should have seen the pink suit Mr. Ramsey had on and the pink bunny suit Mr. Mitchell wore to school. They really had the spirit.
The Dry Hollow Student Council made signs for Crush Cancer Day, and Mrs. Corey, and as they say in Kentucky, bless her little heart, made some attractive flyers for students to take home.
Are you from Kentucky?
No, why do you ask?
Never mind. Speaking of Dry Hollow Student Council, they've already had 2 meetings and are working hard to get some events that will happen in November on the calendar. They already have 2 ideas on the burner for the month of November, and they are just waiting for approval to make them happen. One of them is the Great Dry Hollow Canned Food Drive that we have held for years. Last year's canned food drive brought in a record number of canned goods. Over 3,600 cans of food were collected.
Besides the canned food drive that we will be holding, the Student Council is also planning a week just before Thanksgiving, where they will sell gratitude grams. People will be able to write notes of gratitude to friends or teacher, and then the Student Council will make sure they get delivered. Gratitude note cards will be sold for 25 cents. Any money raised will go to Mr. Kaiser's retirement fund. Just kidding. We'll donate to the local food bank.
Our word of the month in October has been honesty. Everyone is working hard to be as honest as they can. They say, in what they say and what they do. Honestly, I hope everyone is getting better about being honest. I know I am honest.
Mrs. Lloyd had been collecting pride tickets that students earn for doing good things, and when the total number of tickets reaches 1,500, there will be some award. We are still wondering what it will be, and the last we heard, she was also wondering what it will be. Go figure.
Some past teachers and teacher that knew retired teacher, Mrs. Coates, celebrated her life this past Monday when a small but very beautiful statue of children reading and a plaque were placed in the flower garden in the front of our school. Mrs. Coates was a wonderful teacher, and she loved her Dry Hollow students very much.
Thanks to Mrs. Little, the Dry Hollow 4th and 5th grade tag students went on a field trip to Bonneville a week ago. They learned a lot, and once again, fun was had by all. We're still not sure who all is, though.
Once again, we wanted to let everyone know how proud we feel to have the Regional Teacher of the Year at our school. Mr. Mitchell is the absolute best, and he didn't win Oregon Teacher of the Year, but in our opinion, he should have.
Mrs. Corey has been busy, once again, planning an outstanding Veterans Day program for our school. She has put out a call for students to bring names of veterans they have in their families or that they might know, to put on our Veterans Day star display in the halls. Every year, we look forward to this assembly. Maybe we'll learn the words to the Space Force song this year.
Mr. Cavanis, along with Mrs. Corey, man, that lady is busy, are working to resurrect the Dry Hollow Valhalla Choir. Once again, they will have their first meeting next Monday after school on October 30th.
That just about wraps up our report. Thanks for letting us share the news from Dry Hollow with you. There is one more thing I'd like to share with you, though. My class voted me to run for Oregon Kid Governor for 2024. I'm proud to accept the challenge and have decided to run. I hope you'll wish me good luck. The process to run has been, to say the least, very challenging for me, my family, and Mr. Kaiser. Also, Mr. Kaiser was very kind and he helped out a lot, so I'm very appreciated for him. We are hoping that all the paperwork, the video, and everything that needs to be done is completed and at the Secretary of State's office in Salem. I'll let you know how I did in November. I want to thank Robin and the Community Connections office for videotaping me, even though I couldn't use their tape. It gave me a valuable practice, and I enjoyed doing the podcast with them. With that said, good night. Say good night, Jackson.
Good night, Jackson.
And thanks again for listening to our report. Finally, don't stay out too late trick-or-treating.
All right, thank you, and good luck, Lydia. Next up, Colonel Wright with Faith Miramontes.
Hello, my name is Faith Miramontes. I'm a 5th grade student at Colonel Wright Elementary. On October 3rd, we celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month. The Locrano Band performed several authentic Latin songs at our assembly for everyone. A big thank you to Mid-Columbia Community Concert Association. October 12th, our 5th grade classes took a field trip to Horse Thief Lake to learn about our surrounding and area native tribes and the importance of nature. On October 12th, we've also hosted Tile 1 and ELD Family Night. It was a great start with over 65 people in attendance. We had great food and items from community partners like the Colonel Wright PTO, Youth Think, and the OSU Nutrition Services. On October 16th, we held our free Lions Club Vision screening. It was a huge success. Over 19% of our students participated in this free event. Thank you to all of the Lions Club volunteers that helped make this happen. Each week on Wednesday, we hold 5th grade clubs. This month, we had several clubs available for students to join. We had the Jump Rope Club, learning how to double Dutch, the Art Club, making piñatas, the STEM Club, working with robots, a Math and Kindness Club, and a Multicultural Club, working on global diversity awareness. They learned about Indian from India, Festival Diwali, the festival origins, learned to make traditional styled festival decorations, and even practice Bollywood dancing. Mr. Chance, our 5th grade teacher, will be on paternity leave for next month. Spoiler alert, it's a girl. We are excited to have his dad taking his place. What's the chance of that? We have a few fun dress up days next week, including Pajama Day and Silly Dress Day. The Colonel Wright PTO is kicking off a sunshade fundraiser. This helps build sunshade on the blacktop. Our goal is to raise $20,000. Please keep an eye out for the Magical Holiday Catalog. You can get some great Christmas gifts and help us raise some money. Finally, I'm excited to announce, starting in November, students will be taking part in Oregon Battle of the Books. This is open to all 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. Students will meet after school each Thursday from 2:40 to 3:30. Volunteers are needed to help out with quizzing. Are you interested in helping us with an OBOB competition? We'll be hosting an annual winter music concert led by our very own Miss Harwood. We will have evening and matinee options for performances. Thank you for your time, board members. Hope to see you at Colonel Wright next month.
Thank you. Next, we have the school board subcommittee reports. Scholarship Committee from Director Winillage.
Okay, so I went to my first meeting, really nice group of people. Ken Onstadt was voted in as Secretary Treasurer for a 3-year term. They shared quite a few really nice thank you notes from the scholarship recipients.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the Community Outreach Team, Director Aparicio.
Yeah, so we met earlier this week on Tuesday. It was a continued discussion about the most recent trip to DC from the team. They were out there September 18th through the 21st. So some of the folks that had gone on the trip weren't there last month, so they continued the conversation this week. Out of that, the projects, there's about a half a dozen or so. One of the big ones that we're collaborating with is the effort to create a child care facility at Chenoweth Middle School. So that is still ongoing. So that's in collaboration with CGCC, ESD, And those partners are trying to find funding for things like abatement of the facility and other things to kind of keep moving things forward, to be able to repurpose Chenoweth Middle School for that. As it stands right now, kind of in concept stages, it has the potential to add about 200 seats worth of childcare for our community. So there's a lot of interest in that, and some good takeaways in terms of some available federal funding that locally we can go after to try and make that a reality for the Dalles. So that'll be something I'll kind of keep my eyes on and help out as I can, because I think that would be a huge asset to our community to have that available childcare. That's it.
All right, thank you. That was 200 seats?
Yeah, right now the projections are around 200 additional childcare seats that don't exist in the community right now.
Nice. All right, next we have the Wellness Committee, Director Richardson.
I do not have a report this evening.
All right, thank you. Equity Committee, Director Winillage.
Okay, so another first meeting for me. We started to establish committee goals. We took a social group assessment. I call it not a test, but we came up with scores, and then we met with each other committee member to see where our life goals and understanding of the world kind of falls into place for each of us. We are going to do an IDI assessment, and we're still working on gathering data.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the Wasco County Forest Collaboration. Director Nelson?
Yes, had a meeting the first Thursday of October. One of the things I want to, actually, the only thing I want to report on this time is the fall prescribed burning that took place. Fire personnel on the Barlow Ranger District plan to burn up to 427 acres in Mount Hood National Forest this fall. Burning operations began about October 6th and continued for the next several weeks. The weather and moisture levels were great. The weather cooperated with that, so I think that burning got done. The planned burns are in the South Rock and Rocky 79 prescribed fire units located about 3 miles southwest of Pine Hollow and 5 miles west of Womack. And these lands are within the footprint of the Central Wasco County All Lands Joint Chief Project. Prescribed burning in this area will improve landscape resilience to disease and fire, as well as increase the overall forest health and wildlife habitat. All of our prescribed fires are carefully considered based on a lot of factors, including the weather, before and during ignitions. Our fire personnel will patrol the burn areas and monitor conditions until the fire is officially declared out. This was reported by Rick Lancaster. Mount Hood National Forest is a national priority landscape selected as part of the Forest Service wildfire crisis strategy, which works to increase fuel treatments, prepare communities for wildfire, and support post-fire recovery work. This designation will help the forest reduce the risk of fire impacts to nearby communities such as ours. The planned prescribed burns are strategically located in wildland urban interface areas, or WUIs, to meet these goals. So it's really important work. The Forest Collaborative has been involved in that whole effort all along. It's probably one of the most important things we do, is to have controlled burns in order to build a more resilient forest, and we can contain huge conflagrations in the future. That's it. My report.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the OSBA Legislative Policy Committee, Dr. Richardson.
Thank you, Chair. It's been pretty quiet in the LPC, thankfully. The legislative session is pretty quiet, but we've been together working on planning for the OSBA Fall Conference, and so I think most of us will be attending that and hope we have some really interesting workshops to attend. That's it.
All right, thank you. Next, we have D21 Education Foundation, Director Nelson.
So yes, I just attended that a night ago on Zoom. So one of the things that I want to report about to continue the report on music interest in the district, a lot was said about the high school, so I won't repeat that. But at Colonel Wright, some other interesting things have been happening. This is reported by our music teacher. Kinder and First have explored all 7 contrasting parts or elements of music and are celebrating by leading a song with corresponding puppet. They have worked on recognizing the difference between high and low and soft or fast and slow. 2nd through 5th grade takes their final this week, giving definitions of the 7 elements of music. Most classes have earned their keys to success and will get to have a free choice of song games this next week. Student body will begin learning lyrics to the wintry holiday songs for programs or caroling. Kinder through 3rd grade present their program on Thursday, November 17th, might write that date down. And 4th and 5th grades work on their wintry songs for the December 6th and 7th caroling in the community. Their last finale will be singing for us, the school board, on December 14th. And then I want to report on one other thing, and that is from our administrative director, Rebecca Thistlewaite. The Classroom Mini Grants program I was involved with as a member, and it's really fun because teachers have really interesting ideas for what they want to have receive some funds to help them get a small grant to do the work that they want to do. And I just love reading what they want to do. That's a fun thing. Almost everybody got their grants this year because we didn't have so many of them, so it wasn't quite as competitive. So we dispersed $3,835 in grant rewards. The next round, again, will be in March of 2024. Some news on the car raffle. Next year, CG Toyota wants to donate another car, this time a black 2024 Toyota Corolla. We're going to try to sell 5,000 tickets. Boosters are going to be our main partner and will be responsible for selling tickets at the sporting events and handling the team interface. And then for doing that, they get a portion of all of their sales. We're picking boosters because that was the most effective way of selling raffle tickets that we had at the football games. We sold in order to attend, you practically had to buy a ticket. So that was a good thing. Goes to a good cause. Grant advance program. So this is an interesting thing here that Rebecca's bringing up. We need to have more money coming into the Education Foundation to do better things and more things. One of the things she found is she went online and had a Zoom demonstration of a cloud-based grant searching platform called Grant Advance a couple of weeks ago. And it's a very thorough program to help you search tens of thousands of charitable foundations, many of which don't have websites and can't be found online. So they're smaller granting families, really, that have a lot of money that they would like to give away for good causes. And this has tens of thousands of these foundations that you can look online, and if anything matches what they're interested in, you're wanting to have help with, you can sign it, try to get a grant with those people. So a 5-year license will cost $5,995, and the foundation went ahead and moved to spend that money. This license allows us to be able to utilize this service for up to five users, and for 5 years, but they give you a 6th year for free. So for $1,000 a year, plus an extra year tossed in, it costs what we paid. And the normal cost per year is $2,500 to be a part of this program. Let's see, and that's about it. So that concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Next, we have staff reports. D21 Education Association representative and North Wasco Education Support Professionals representatives.
Yep. Right, sorry. All right, good evening, School Board and Dr. Bernal. We apologize for not being here last month, but well, we just had too much going on, so we couldn't make it happen. D21EA would like to officially welcome the 2 newest board members, since we were not able to do that last meeting. We want to thank you guys for your willingness to serve, and we're happy to see you here. We also wanted to let you know that we voted to offer $2,500 of financial support towards the bond, which came with a match from OEA. So a total of, yes, $5,000 to the bond from our unions. We would like to thank all who have worked very tirelessly to do all they could to see this bond pass. We did conclude our bargaining, and we are happy that it was yet again very collaborative. We thank the district's team for that. While we did agree to a 3% salary increase based on where the district is at financially, it does not meet the current COLA, thus leaving licensed staff feeling unable to keep up financially. We strongly urge the board to work closely with Dr. Bernal and all involved in the financial planning for next year to assure that we can get at least a full COLA next year. We do not want to be in the position that 10 other districts right now in Oregon are in, who are voting to strike or in mediation. 10 districts, it's a lot, and most of them are either class size or the cost of living increase, salary increases. Overall, our licensed staff are doing well. However, we are seeing some serious burnout already, mostly of our elementary teachers for various reasons. D21 EA executive members have been having conversations with both Dr. Bernal and Shannon to try to come up with some mutually agreed upon solutions. I want to thank both Dr. Bernal and Shannon for not only being quick to respond to our request to meet, but to actively listen, take notes, and let us know where they can pursue solutions. We always know that Dr. Bernal will get back to us, and we are confident that Shannon will as well, given the time, as we just met with her today. So we, of course, don't expect to turn around right now, but we are grateful that we have such a collaborative working relationship with the both of them. We are grateful to each of you who serve on this board, and we look forward to seeing each of you in our buildings very soon. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. Next up, new business. So we have the complaints that we listened to in the executive session about the complaints filed on September 24th, 25th, and 29th. Anyone have any comments or want to make a motion on that?
Chair, I move to direct legal counsel to notify the complaints filed September 24th, 25th, and 29th, 2023, that the board has determined that no further investigation of the complaints is warranted because the complainants failed to follow the board policy regarding complaints, and the complaints are also without merit.
Second.
Back to this. All right, motion made by Director Vaughn and seconded by Director Richardson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Any members abstain? Ayes have it, motion passes. So next up, we have Superintendent's report. Dr. Bernal?
Thank you. I will turn the time over to Director Richardson to talk about the 23-24 board goals.
Thank you, Dr. Bernal. Do you have my slides up? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So I'd like to start by, as a preface, prior to our goal setting, the full board participated in some training with Vince Adams from the Oregon School Board Association. And during that training, we learned two things. One is the single shared belief that all students can and will learn measurably impacts student outcomes in a positive way. That's the single shared belief that all students can and will learn measurably impacts student outcomes in a positive way. The second thing we learned from Vince Adams was that when board goals align with the superintendent and the district goals, student achievement benefits, which is why we've designed these goals as we have. Thank you very much. So the first goal is to review the student achievement data, and we'll look at outcomes from the 5 longitudinal performance growth targets, and we're going to pick one middle school specific target still to be determined, but these 5 address the other domains of schools. The first one is four-year graduation rate, the percentage of students earning a regular or modified diploma within 4 years of entering high school. The 5-year completion rate, which is the percentage of students earning a regular, modified, extended, or adult high school diploma or a GED within 5 years of entering high school. The third one is third grade reading, the percentage of students proficient on statewide English language arts assessment in the 3rd grade. The fourth is the 9th grade on track, the percentage of students entering at least 1/4 of their graduation credits by the end of the summer following their 9th grade year. And the 5th one is regular attenders. This is the percentage of students attending more than 90% of their enrolled school days. We'll measure this by documenting our review of a baseline data and at the end of trimesters 2 and 3 at regular business meetings of the board. This is an actionable goal in that the board chair and the vice chair will request data in advance of board meetings and at the intervals specified above. We'll start with this baseline review on our December meeting. It's relevant to student achievement as this is a top priority of the board and a focus of the superintendent and the district strategic planning. And it's time bound. These 3 reviews will be completed prior to the start of the 24-25 academic year. So those are the elements of a SMART goal. Go ahead, yeah. This goal aligns with collaborative governance. These are principles of a shared and collaborative governance, specifically under the domain of a shared focus on student learning. It aligns with board self-assessment standard 1 and standard 10. It aligns with characteristics of high-performing boards, number 4, which is a strong shared belief and values about what is possible for all students and their ability to learn. It also aligns with the district's strategic goals of teaching and learning, which is to implement a district-wide approach to intervention and support using evidence-based frameworks. And for each of these goals, we thought about a way to exceed the goal. So if the board as a whole achieves these 3 goals, there are ways that individual board members can over-goal. We have some high achievers on this board. I'm not going to point fingers, but if they want to exceed this goal, there's an opportunity, in addition to reviewing student achievement data, we can observe at least one restorative sprint at one of the schools and report back to the board business meeting. And we've been given an invitation from Dr. Bernal to sign up for those opportunities. Questions about goal number 1? Okay, goal number 2. Goal number 2 is we're going to update and sign our board operating agreements. Current board operating agreements are due for review and signature of all of our board members, and this is how we operate and function together as a cohesive board. We'll measure this pretty easily. It'll be posted on the website. It's very actionable. We'll be able to edit and update the current BOA with administrative support from Cindy. Relevant, so the board operating agreements give detail about topics of board operations. They can be covered in policy, but it's really our agreements together, how we work. It'll be signed and publicly posted by March of 2024. Time bound. Go ahead. This aligns to collaborative governance under culture of trust and respect for collective responsibility, under board self-assessment standard 7, under culture and climate. It aligns with characteristics of high-performing boards number 5, leadership as a united team with the superintendent and with strong collaboration and mutual trust. And it aligns with district strategic goals of student experience to create a shared understanding and standard of true belonging, cultural competency, and relational capacity district-wide. The opportunity to exceed this goal was an idea that came from Director Winelich. Thank you very much. We're going to divide up our policies and each develop some subject matter expertise within each of the different policy sections. Finally, goal 3, thanks. We're going to complete board self-assessment within the board self-assessment system of the Oregon School Board Association. It's an online assessment survey that consists of 12 standards for effective boardsmanship. So this is some education as well as self-assessment. We'll measure this by generating a report through the OSBA website. It's very actionable since it's an online survey and relevant in that when we demonstrate commitment, it carves out space and time to learn together and acknowledges the role of the board on improving student achievement. It's a way to evaluate our performance on a regular basis and set our new goals for improvement. And it models a willingness to learn and course correct as necessary. So we'll complete this by the spring of 2024. This goal aligns with collaborative governance, collective accountability and support, with board self-assessment standard 4, accountability, with characteristics of high-performing boards number 8, behavior that is accountably driven, with more time focused on policies to improve student achievement. And it aligns with the district's strategic goals of staffing, culture, and support, ensuring each staff member, regardless of location or department, feels supported. To over goal here, we will complete the superintendent assessment training through the OSBA, which teaches us how to be good evaluators of the superintendent's performance and share our learnings with the superintendents prior to her evaluation. And with all of that, thank you, Chair. I think we're ready for a motion to accept.
All right, thank you. So we'll entertain a motion on that.
I'll move to approve the 23-24 board goals as presented.
Right. Motion by Director Aparicio, seconded by Director Nelson. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Any members abstain? Ayes have it, motion passes.
We talk about Division 22 standards. Okay. Next item. So by November 1st of each year, school district superintendents are required by OAR 581-022-2305, District Assurances of Compliance with Public School Standards, to report to their community on the district's status with respect to all the standards for public elementary and secondary schools. The standards are adopted by the State Board of Education and set out in Oregon Administrative Rules, Chapter 581, Division 22. So what you need to remember is this is not reporting compliance on this year. This is actually reporting our compliance for the 22-23 school year, which was last year. So there are 3 areas in which we were not compliant for the 22-23 school year. 2 of those areas relates to physical education requirements in the elementary school and in the middle school. During the summer, we actually worked collaboratively with the Oregon Department of Education PE department for our elementary schools to create plans for how we will come into compliance for the 23-24 school year. And those were submitted and approved by ODE. Our corrective action plan is on file with the ODE and posted on our website. And we will be in compliance for the 23-24 school year. For middle school, the last year, the requirement was 225 minutes per week, and we were not in compliance with that. That minute requirement, however, was adjusted during the last legislative session, and the requirement for 23-24 is 150 minutes per week, and that's averaged over the school year. And we've worked collaboratively with the middle school to ensure that their minutes that the students are receiving does meet this requirement for the 23-24 school year. So we will be in compliance. And lastly, the last one was on the very last page, teacher training related to dyslexia. We have 3 elementary schools. Each school is supposed to have a teacher that is trained in dyslexia. During the 22-23 school year, 2 of our 3 schools have a trained teacher. We've had some attrition over time. So we are ensuring that a designated teacher at the 3rd school receives this training this year to bring us back into compliance. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions, or we'll entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Division 22 standards as presented.
Second.
Right. Motion by Director Nelson, seconded by Director Richardson. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Any member want to abstain? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you. Next up, we have Chief Financial Officer's report. Ms. Flath.
Hello. I will maybe start with the easier section, maybe not easier, just the enrollment summary. You all hopefully have this in your report. Last month we were at 2,854. This month on the 2nd of October, we're at 2,851. Seems pretty steady, which is good news. Again, we seem to dip up a little bit and then dip back down. And I always just keep reminding people what's been our budget has been built on is 2,899 with the weights added to that. Essentially, the state funds you about $10,000 a student. So the gap between the 20, depending on what we look like when they actually do the official count in December, it'll be about 10,000 a student that will have our budget cut. So just keeping that in mind, if we don't get to the 2899, which it doesn't appear that we will, we'll have a little gap there. The good news is I think it's only about 100,000 if we do the math. So keeping our eye on that, and just know that impacts us come January, February, into the rest of the year. Any questions? That's really quick and nothing too fancy. Okay. The good news is it's steady. I'll take that. And still up from last year, which is, again, good news. So we are slowly climbing back up, still not to what we were pre-COVID before I got here. So working on it. The next one is your financial summary with all the information in it. This has a lot of, if you had a chance to really dive through some of the financial reports, there's a lot of moving parts in these, is what I'm going to say. We are going to be cash poor this year. I keep saying that. General fund is looking slim this year, so we don't have a lot of wiggle room. So I'm a pleasant person around the office. You can ask anybody. Usually no is the first thing that comes out of my mouth, but we are, we still have grants and other things that we're working through. Some of the challenges for cash poor were about 700,000 in the hole in our state grants. And some of that is because they have not gone through the State Department of Justice to get all their grants approved. Until they do that with their contracts, we're not able to access the cash behind it. So that is creating a cash poor situation. So just continuing to work through that and hope they get it open soon. I have emailed them often to see how quickly they can get that moving. And it's kind of out of their hands too. So I understand, but it is troublesome and it makes it challenging, especially if we have new grants to go and implement them, because we have to front all the cash to get those things flowing. So it's kind of a devil in the details kind of situation. The other thing, we will have to have a supplemental budget hearing for a couple of things. One, we had moved the student investment account into its own fund, which is 251. Somehow yours truly here put it all in the 1,000 level account, which may not mean a whole lot, but we have a bunch in the 2,000 or vice versa. So I will need to do a supplemental budget hearing for that. We also should have, in this one, kind of slipped this one, we should include all of our E-rate projects because they are cash that we take in. We have a substantial amount coming this year. So if you look at the tech fund, and I don't go into too much detail, so if you don't want to necessarily hear it all, I guess I'll give it to you anyway. But so the technology fund, if you look at this particular sheet under 285, is going to show substantially starting to be in the hole. It will be substantially more in the hole, but what we need to do is budget all the revenue we will bring in from the E-rate projects, which they fund like 75 to 80% of them. And we just fund the difference, that gap, that 15, 20%. And that is probably, it's close to, I have it on my desk, but it's about 150,000. So it is going to need to be budgeted in there. That would be the most effective accounting practice. And that's how you should do it. So as we work through our auditors, one thing, we have a new audit firm and people just have a different look at some things. They are making note that we do have an excessive, in their opinion, we have an excessive amount of funds, which we do. It's easier for us to track. It makes more work for you folks and then doing supplemental budget hearings because you have to go to each fund. However, in order to be the funds that start with a 2, you have to have revenue that comes in. So they're state special revenues, right? Or special revenues, sorry. They have to have external funding sources. For the most part, the technology fund, the textbook fund, majority of our bus replacement vehicle fund, all of those are funded with general fund. We move it internally. And it's a good practice to continue to set those aside from your general fund budget so you have those intact, especially as we get into these big curriculum adoptions. So one of the things we'll need to be looking at as we start budgeting in January is probably reducing the amount of funds we have and moving those back into a general fund, but we can do a sub-fund in the general fund, if that makes sense. Like we could do a 101, a 102, still keep track of that, but legitimately they're still technically general funds. So they have some good valid points. Again, we'll also have to open a 302 fund if the bond passes. So we'll kind of go through as we start our budgeting process in January and work through that. Some of them, is there any questions on that? That's kind of probably more than you want to know.
Okay, back to the beginning. You mentioned that $700,000. That's just a projected deficit at this point based on state revenue and state funds that have not been sent out?
It's not projected. It's a real shortfall. So if you go look at how much we've spent in certain grants as opposed to the revenue we've been able to bring in, we're 700,000 upside down.
Okay, and are we like feeling that in the district right now?
We do feel it in our cash, yes.
Okay.
So it's been a tight October. And it does affect that. We are still able to make payroll and do all of those things. November's when taxes are going to come in, so we'll be fine after that. But getting through this last month has been a little bit of a challenge.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions about all that?
Just to add, I mean, that's just the cash position at present. I mean, there's revenue identified for funding those elements that have been either encumbered or expended to date. Is that accurate?
Correct. They're grants. They're valid. We have them. We're spending them. It's just we can't access the checks.
So it's more timing than anything.
It is,
in terms
yeah.
of the availability of the fundings to be able to submit for reimbursement.
Yep. Exactly. And that's why I say it's really cash poor. It's just creating challenges, but it will be okay. Yeah. Some good news on the counterpart is the nutrition. We've been looking at the fund. We're going self-op. We're still working with our Sodexo partner and talking through that, what that wants to look like through the end of the year. We do have an administrative review coming in December, which means ODE comes in on a day and they come and look at whatever they want to look at for that particular month. So we've been really working, had some people from Sodexo and they went and looked through all of our practices and what we have in place this year. And we think we're in a good position for that audit. We are not ideally staffed. Again, we would love to find someone to run the food truck that we have. That's fabulous and going to be at the high school of the haunted house. If you choose to go do that, it'll be great. But we need a lead person to actually be working in that food truck. So we've been actively trying to recruit that. It's going to take, it's a 6-hour position. I'm going to lobby for it a little bit. If anybody wants to apply, please do. But our meals compared to September at this point last year were up over 2,000 for the month, which is good for us feeding kids and good for our program because that's revenue from the state because we are CEP. So we charge ODE, in essence, the federal government for all those meals. We did find that we may have to increase our adult meal price. One of the requirements are you have to stay in line with what the federal government has determined. I think that has to be increased. So you may see that in the next month or two. We're just going to verify what that needs to be. And that is a requirement. So not really an option. Any questions on that in case I confuse you? Trying to stop and pause. Facilities, we do have a lot of things going on with facilities. One of the most active recently has been fencing around Dry Hollow, trying to keep it more secure. As you know, there's a lot of exterior doors. So we're trying to kind of tighten that up when working with the fire department to get approval with where our fence is. We do have a plan. We're getting close to finished, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. That's been done mostly internally. And we do thank our Sodexo partner because they actually funded the cost of that fence. Just FYI, they bought all the materials and we're using in-house staff. So to contract that out was substantially more. So it's been a really good project for us. And we are working with the special education director. We are working on getting a replacement playground for the SLC program at Chenoweth. When you drive by there, their playground equipment does need some help. So bringing in some new ones, that's probably going to take a little bit for it to get installed, but hopefully that'll be here in the next week or two. And I can't believe I didn't include it, but in collaboration with, I'm pointing to Jonathan Voss back there, we did Century 21 program, but we have purchased in collaboration with them a bike fleet. So we have a bike fleet of 60 with a trailer put in it that we'd like to work with our after school program and with our PE department to get students on bikes and teaching them how to be road safe and bike safe. And so anybody interested in helping kids learn how to ride bikes, let me know. We will certainly use you. So excited about some of those projects. Any questions? I'll try to bring you good news, but it's going to be a squeaky boat kind of year. So any other questions? Thank you.
Right, thank you. Next, we have the board attorney's report. Mr. Corey? Next up, we have Dr. Bernal on the union contract approval.
Yes, thank you. As our Education Association President, Ms. Ketchum, stated earlier, we have concluded our bargaining with them. I too feel like it was a very collaborative session and appreciate the goodwill of both teams on both sides of the table. And it's been a positive experience so far. So I'm really thankful for that. We have come to an agreement with our Education Association, which includes some areas of language changes as well as a COLA increase of 3%. It also continues the contract through 2025. We will bargain again this year. There's a reopener. Each side gets a reopener, and then salary and benefits are open. So tonight we're asking that you approve and ratify the bargaining agreement as presented for the 23-24 school year.
All right, so we'll entertain a motion on the licensed union contract and approve.
I move to accept and ratify the D21 Education Association collective bargaining agreement as presented for the 2023 to 2024 school year, extending to June 2025.
I second.
All right, motion by Director Nelson, seconded by Director Aparicio. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Any members abstain? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Let me go to the next one.
Next we have
It's not on here, but it's the, so this one is for the non-represented employees. Now that we've concluded bargaining with our Education Association, non-represented employees include the superintendent, licensed administrators, directors, and coordinators. The superintendent is requesting the school board grant the same COLA of 3% as the licensed association to the non-represented employee group, the superintendent, licensed administrators, directors, and coordinators.
All right, we'll entertain a motion to ratify the collective bargaining agreement for the D21 Education Association for 23-24.
Chair, I'll move to grant, this is the non-represented employees of North Wasco County School District, the same cost of living adjustments 3% included in the 2023-2024 ratified license collective bargaining agreement for the 2023-2024 school year.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Director Richardson, seconded by Director Aparicio. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. Any members abstain? Ayes have it, motion passes. So now
I have one more. Okay. So the district and North Wasco education support professionals, we've reached a tentative agreement for a COLA increase of 3.5%. This ratification for this increase is pending while we continue to negotiate a few outstanding language items in their contract. We have 2 articles that we're finishing up. We've been in communication back and forth this week on those articles and expect to finalize that agreement very soon so that they can take this out for ratification. In addition, we're proposing the same COLA increase of 3.5% for our confidential employees. We have 6 confidential employees. So the superintendent is requesting the school board approve the tentative agreement pending ratification of a COLA increase of 3.5% for North Wasco education support professionals. And the superintendent is requesting the same COLA increase of 3.5% be granted to the confidential employees.
Chair, I move to accept and ratify the tentative agreement for a COLA increase of 3.5% for the North Wasco education support professionals to be implemented upon ratification by their membership, and the same COLA increase of 3.5% for confidential employees.
I have a question I need to ask.
okay.
Kara, I wanted to double check. When we spoke this afternoon, in my mind, I heard you say you had built in 3%. Did you build in 3.5 for this group, or is it at 3%? My concern is, where's the 0.5 going to come from?
Hello, yes, we talked earlier, I built 3% across the board. So that'll leave a 0.5% that technically isn't budgeted. We will have to fund that with attrition through turnover of staff or positions we're not able to fill or other, I don't know that we can make any operating reductions because we already did some reductions, but it's gonna have to come through that. So what we'll do is once we have everything loaded in our system and we start paying that, we'll look at the bottom line and see what that gap looks like, and then make decisions possibly if we had to reduce things because of it. I don't anticipate it being substantially enough. It's not across the board. It's in fairness, it's the lower paid staff in the district, so that doesn't compound as quickly as it does with district-wide. So district-wide for 1%, it would be $385,000, but that's everybody. And you're talking to, a good 2/3 is not getting a 0.5%. So maybe 100,000.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure we clarified that. Thank you very much.
Do we have a second?
I moved a second.
Right. Motion by Director Nelson, seconded by Director Winelage. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Any member want to abstain? Ayes have it, motion passes. Next, we have a request to rehire Dr. Bernal.
Yes, thank you. Tom Conklin, who's employed as a licensed PE teacher at Colonel Wright Elementary, is retiring in the PERS system on November 1st, 2023. Mr. Conklin is requesting the school board rehire him in the same position on a temporary contract until the end of the school year, June 11th, 2024. And so I would ask that you approve that so we can have a continuity of services for physical education at Colonel Wright this year. And then we will look to hire his replacement for the 24-25 school year.
Chair, I'll move to approve the request to rehire Tom Conklin in his current position as a licensed PE teacher located at Colonel Wright Elementary School on a temporary contract until the end of the school year, June 11th, 2024.
Second.
All right. Motion by Director Vaught, seconded by Director Richardson. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Any members abstain? Ayes have it, motion passes. And next up we have high school migrant students trip to Washington, D.C.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to invite Jonathan Faust with the ESD, and he's going to come up and share a little bit about an out-of-state travel request for our migrant education program to Washington, D.C.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Bernal, student representatives, staff, and others present. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. I'm here again to have the opportunity to look forward to taking more students to Washington, D.C. as we've done 2 years in the past. And I'd like to go forward here with the presentation, if you can move to the next slide. So first of all, I wanted to show you some pictures from students last year. We did take 15 students from the district last year, and they had an amazing time. And right here sitting with you is one of them who attended. Yamari Santillan Guzman is one of the students who was able to go. And she's represented in that picture, of course, on that little screen from where you are, you can't see it, but maybe in your packet you were able to. But anyway, the Close-Up Foundation is a foundation that's been around for more than 50 years. They've taken up to about 1 million students over the years. They're very experienced in this process. And what they do is essentially have Washington, D.C. as a living classroom. It's absolutely amazing for these students. They come back in ways that we cannot imagine. And I do know that this opportunity for the student representative seat was presented to me before the trip, and I talked to every student who was on the bus with us traveling. Hey, there is an opportunity for one of you or more. Please go ahead and apply. And lo and behold, so clearly we have an example right here, but I know of countless other examples. And her brother was one of the first students who went in 2019, and he now attends Harvard, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of amazing things happen with these students. There are countless examples, but those are two I'd like to share. Please move forward. Thank you. So essentially, this living classroom, they connect with people, places, historical and contemporary events. They talk about things that are happening in Congress right there. They have an opportunity to debate both sides of those, debate with other students from around the country. They get to learn about the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. They visit with Senators Merkley and Wyden, Congressman Bentz. They get to see monuments, the Supreme Court, Library of Congress, and much more. It's so much that I know that at times it was pretty tiring, but an experience that they will never forget. And so the program will give all the students the knowledge, skills, and confidence they need to become informed, active citizens of the United States. So these are a little too small, but I do know that they're in your packet. These are testimonies from 3 students last year. So we had students in the migrant education program. The migrant parents actually asked, since this was funding it, can they come and speak and talk about their experience? So they wrote in Spanish, and I grabbed 3 of them and translated them into English for you to kind of see what their experience was. So hopefully you had a chance to look at that. If we could move on here. So essentially, the students will be going through an application process. So this prepares them for the college and scholarship process as well, because they kind of have that opportunity to maybe write that first essay that's something that really is towards a scholarship or admissions to something. And then we go through a process, depending on how many we have. We were barely over the number of applicants last year, and I'm thinking that this year we're going to have a really big process and have to have a committee to go through and select these 10 students if you do approve their trip again. The migrant education program will coordinate the field trip, request paperwork, and provide the chaperones. It also pays for transportation. We actually chartered a van to do that because it was just much easier to have everybody on one van and be convenient, all their bags in one place. And the parents met us at 5:30 in the morning, and off we went. Also, their meals are provided for, their airfare, their hotel, the workshops, attendance to program events, and more. And right here you can see the students with Senator Wyden from last year. And here is a motion for you. I know you have your process, but I thought I might put one in there for you as well. Thank you very much.
Any questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve Columbia Gorge ESD's request to take up to 10 migrant education program, the Dallas High School students, to Washington, D.C. on the week of April 20th to 27th, 2024.
I'll second that.
All right, motion by Director Nelson, seconded by Director Aparicio. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Any members abstain? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, next up we have action item, vote for OSBA Board of Directors position 2 for the Gorge region. Candidates are Emily Smith from Helix and Dana Wynne-Elledge from North Wasco.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yep.
I would like to have my name removed since I now realize how much is involved. And when our bond passes, like everybody said, we're going to be busy. So I ask that my name be stricken. I've already spoken to Emily, and I wished her congratulations.
Right, so I'll entertain a motion to
Chair, I'll
vote.
move to vote for Emily Smith of Helix as position number 2 SBA Director for the Gorge Region.
I'll second that motion.
Right, motion by Director Richardson, seconded by Director Aparicio. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Do we
So,
need to go through the process, or can we just vote for Emily? Do we have to go through that whole entire process, or can we just?
There's something on top of what Sue did. Right.
Chair, respectfully, I'd like to lay on the table a consensus agreement to support Director Dana Wynne-Elledge's withdrawing as candidate for OSBA Board Chair and focus her attentions on the hopefully passed bond.
Right, thank you.
We're just seeking consensus, right? Not a vote. Yeah.
What's that?
We're just seeking consensus, not an actual vote. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I appreciate Director Wynne-Elledge being considerate of the fact that, you know, locally we may have a larger workload coming up. And so I appreciate her thinking of that. I know it was a great opportunity, and I know you were kind of excited, but I totally respect your decision and appreciate your willingness to look inward and locally for our own district.
Okay, so back to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
I'm not understanding now where the vote is at. I don't understand. What are we voting for exactly right now?
The motion was to elect Emily Smith from Helix
As a board.
for,
So we'd cast our vote as a board
As a
for
board.
Emily.
yes,
For position 2.
yes. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Any member want to abstain? Ayes have it. Motion passes. So next up, we have the vote for OSBA LPZ position 2. Candidate is Judy Richardson.
I will move to vote or place our vote for Director Richardson from North Wasco County School District as the position number 2 OSBA Legislative Policy Committee member for the Gorge Region.
Second.
Motion by Director Aparicio, seconded by Director Vaught. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Any member want to abstain? Right. Ayes have it, motion passes. All right, next up, we have a resolution to amend Oregon School Board Association bylaws relating to composition of the Board of Directors. Dr. Bernal's going to speak on that.
So this is the Oregon Rural School Board Advisory Committee has requested OSBA to submit a resolution to the membership creating the Oregon Rural School Board Members Caucus and designate a seat on the OSBA Board of Directors and Legislative Policy Committee. And the full resolution language and draft rural caucus bylaws are attached. So I believe the motion is to approve the resolution.
Chair, when you're ready, I'll move to approve the resolution to amend the OSBA's 2018 bylaws.
We have a second?
Second.
I skipped over, sorry. I moved to amend the Oregon School Board Association bylaws relating to composition of board directors.
Right, do we have a second on that? All right, motion by Director Richardson, seconded by Director Nelson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Any member want to abstain? Ayes have it, motion passes. Bylaws.
Yeah. The next one is, so the OSBA bylaws have not been amended since 2018, and the OSBA Board of Directors are proposing several proposed changes. The full resolution language and proposed changes to the bylaws are attached. Also attached is a crosswalk of the proposed changes. So the request would be a motion to approve the resolution to amend the OSBA's 2018 bylaws.
All right, entertain a motion to amend the OSBA bylaws for 2018.
I'll move to approve the resolution to amend the OSBA 2018 bylaws as presented.
Second.
Motion by Director Aparicio, seconded by Director Richardson. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. Any members want to abstain? Ayes have it, motion passes. Next, we have first reading on school board policy, BDA, board meetings. House Bill 2805 and House Bill 2806 added new provisions to public meeting laws and executive sessions, expanded Oregon Government Ethics Commission oversight of public meeting law, and added provisions requiring a board member to receive mandatory public meeting trainings. As a result, HB 2805, a person who believes the district has violated identified provisions of public meeting law may be able to file a grievance with the district in accordance with law. The new public meeting law provisions to file a grievance become effective September 2023. The new public meeting law provisions for executive session HB 2806, which now include considering matters relating to the safety of the board, staff, and volunteers in the security of district facilities and meeting spaces, as well as the safety of the board, affect district staff and volunteers, security of district facilities and meeting spaces, as well as considering matters related to cybersecurity, infrastructure, and responses to cybersecurity threats are effective now. The new board member training requirements take effect January 1st, 2024. Is that? First reading. Any comments? Next, we have first reading for Board Policy BDC, executive sessions. House Bill 2805 and House Bill 2806 add a new provision to public meeting law and executive session, expanded Oregon Government Ethics Commission oversight of public meeting law, and added provisions requiring the board member to receive mandatory public meeting training. As a result of HB 2805, a person who believes a district has violated identified provisions of public meeting law may be able to file a grievance with the district in accordance with law. The new public meeting law provisions to file a grievance become effective September 2023. The new public meeting law provisions for executive session HB 2805 or 2806, which now include considering matters related to the safety of the board, district staff, volunteers, and the security of district facilities and meeting space, as well as considering matters related to cybersecurity infrastructure and responses to cybersecurity threats, are effective now. Any comments on that? All right, move on to second reading for adoption on school board policies GCBDF, GD/GDBDF, paid family medical leave insurance. The Oregon legislature has passed paid family leave laws with benefits becoming available on September 3rd, 2023. North Wasco County School District will refer district staff to the standard insurance company in the event they would like to apply for these benefits. And this is in So I'll accept a motion to approve that policy.
Chair, I'll move to approve policy GCBDF/GDBDF, paid family medical leave insurance.
It was second.
Second.
Motion by Director Richardson, seconded by Director Nelson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Any member want to abstain? Ayes have it, motion passes. No, that one. Next one is information only policy JHF/GBNABAR1. Reporting of suspected abuse of a child. The reporting form was updated to include the current toll-free number for reporting suspected abuse of a child to DHS, along with reformatting the layout. That's all for that one. Do we have any closed hands? Right. So, public comments. The board will accept public comments for the October 26, 2023 meeting. The board is committed to the public comment process and will consider all public comments seriously. Public comments for virtual meetings will continue to follow school board policy BDDH, public participation in board meetings. Public comments options are sign up to speak at the meeting. A sign up form will be available for those wishing to speak at the school board in person. Comments will follow district policy with up to 3 minutes allotted per person to speak. To submit written comments, please send an email to publiccomments@northwasco.k12.or.us. Deadline to submit written comments is Wednesday by 4 p.m. before the board meeting. Public comments submitted after the deadline will be included in the next regular school board meeting agenda. Public comments via Zoom webinar. For those wishing to make public comments virtually, please send an email to Cindy Miller at publiccomments@northwasco.k12.or.us by Wednesday, no later than 4 p.m. the day before the board meeting, with your name, screen name, phone number you will be joining the meeting with. You will receive a link to join the meeting and will be placed in a waiting room until your name is called. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board sincerely appreciates your input and thanks for your participation. With that, we'll adjourn the board meeting. Thank you, everyone.